This is Ben Davison. Subscribe to Stephen Icon.
Okay, so one of the big talking points over the last day or so is Tyson Fury retiring. Of course, he done that open workout, and one of the things that he was talking about in quite a lot of the interviews was, I'm going to be retiring. People will look at it, scoff, oh yeah, of course, this is Tyson Fury just doing what Tyson Fury does, trying to encourage people to click the pay-per-view to say, you know what, we've watched Tyson Fury's final fight and all that kind of stuff. Is it a sales tool? And of course, yesterday after the press conference, again, he was reiterating the fact that he's deadly serious. He wants to retire. This is it. He's had enough. Apparently, he had a conversation with his wife, Paris, after the last Wilder fight, where he said, that's it, I've had enough. But this opportunity came up that he could fight at Wembley Stadium against Dillian Whyte, and he thought, you know what, let's just have one more go. And then I'm going to set off into the sunset, I'm going to go off to Morecambe, be left alone, delete my Instagram and all that kind of stuff. Now, firstly, I do have to say, and again, let's be honest, I'm not going to say that this conversation with his wife Paris didn't happen. It probably did, but the reality is, it's not a case of he was offered this opportunity against Dillian Whyte at Wembley Stadium, and that's why he decided to have one more fight. No, not at all. Okay, because he had one more fight left on his top-ranked ESPN deal. So he has to have a fight regardless, whether it be against Dillian Whyte or not. Now, he says he didn't have to fight Dillian Whyte. Yeah, maybe, but he would have had to have vacated the WBC belt. Because, again, this Dillian Whyte fight was mandated, wasn't it? And, again, it wasn't a case of this fight at Wembley Stadium was offered to him and he decided, yeah, you know what, I'm going to have this one more fight. No, because he was talking about having other fights before this, wasn't he? On the lead up to this one, okay, which was aggravating me a little bit, and I know it was for a lot of you, where he was talking about everyone else except his mandated fighter in Dillian Whyte. He didn't really speak about Dillian Whyte until it was forced upon him. So, will he retire? I don't think so. But again, I suppose it depends on how this fight is going to go on Saturday, doesn't it? It really does depend, because if Tyson Fury looks good and doesn't really get touched by Dillian, and what it takes Dillian to school stops him or whatever it's going to be, then clearly people will look at him and go, well, you're still in your prime, so why would you retire? And Tyson will probably look at himself and go, you know what, I found that quite easy. If I can defeat Dillian Whyte, no problem. And Usyk or Joshua shouldn't really be a problem. Of course, styles make fights and all that kind of stuff. And Tyson Fury, he can dismiss Anthony Joshua and dismiss Alexander Usyk or dismiss Joe Joyce and whatever else. Styles do make fights, much like this weekend against Dillian Whyte. It's like a lot of people seem to think because Dillian Whyte got knocked out by Povetkin, then it's a guaranteed victory for Tyson, because Tyson looked really good his last two fights against Deontay Wilder. But that's two different opponents, two different styles. For example, Dillian Whyte could mow through, destroy Tyson Fury, knock him out cold. Does that mean he's definitely going to beat Wilder because Fury beat Wilder? No, of course not. Of course not. Likewise, if Dillian Whyte destroys Tyson Fury, and just because Dillian Whyte previously lost to Anthony Joshua back in 2015, I think it was, does that mean that Tyson Fury can't beat Anthony Joshua? Of course not. Of course not. Even if Tyson Fury annihilates Dillian Whyte in the first round or two, does that mean that Dillian Whyte can't beat Wilder? Because Wilder went 3 fights with Fury and shared X amount of rounds? No, it doesn't. It's all about styles. It's all about on the night as well. But going back onto the retirement for Tyson Fury, do I think he's going to retire? If he loses and gets knocked out, yeah, I think he probably will retire. I really do. If he wins this one, why would he walk away? And I know he says that he doesn't want any kind of money. He doesn't need any more money. He's got enough money. He's quite happy. He lives a pretty simple life. Well, we know that's not true. You know, he likes that high life over there in Las Vegas, where apparently he's got his own apartment now or his own house or whatever it may be. He He walks around in Versace, drives Ferraris and all that kind of stuff, and expensive Rolex watches and all that kind of stuff. Listen, he likes to live the high life. He does. But ultimately, does he really need the money? No, you wouldn't have thought so. But when there's an opportunity, for example, if he was to defeat Dillian Whyte, and especially if Anthony Joshua was to defeat Alexander Usyk, now, would he walk away for maybe 2 fights for, firstly, undisputed, secondly, for a huge fight against Anthony Joshua, but also 2 fights where he could make 75, 100 million for each fight against Anthony Joshua, against a guy that Tyson Fury says is easy work? Well, if it's easy work, then what's the problem? I mean, why would you walk away? You wouldn't walk away. That'd be absolutely madness, wouldn't it? I know Tyson would say, but Anthony Joshua, he's damaged goods now because he's got 2 losses. Okay, the first loss, he avenged. And if he defeats Usyk in the rematch, then he's avenged that previous loss as well. So Anthony Joshua will be stood there as he's defeated every man that he's ever faced. It's back to square one, really, isn't it, in some ways? So no, I don't buy into it. I think that this is just a selling tool for Tyson Fury to try and encourage people to click that button to make sure it's a must-see, cannot miss. Because this is Tyson Fury's final fight. As I said, it could be his last fight, but that's if he gets starched. If he gets starched by Dillian Whyte, I do fully expect him to retire. But likewise, maybe if Tyson defeats Dillian Whyte, and if he knocks out Dillian Whyte, maybe this will be Dillian Whyte's last fight. Would Dillian Whyte want to go back through and build himself back up again? I mean, maybe he will. Maybe he will, because obviously he hasn't achieved what it is that Tyson has achieved. Tyson has won all the belts, so Tyson could walk away if he loses. Whereas Dillian, he's still going to have that desire to say, well, I want to fight for the world title again, and I want to become world champion. I don't want to retire until I'm world champion. And Dillian will always have that self-belief. Even if he gets done by Fury in 1 round, he's still going to have that belief. But you never know. You never know. I mean, how much money does Dillian need? How much of that fire is still burning in him and ambition is burning in him? If he was to lose to Tyson, how much of that would be left? So it could actually be a crossroads for both of them in some ways. Potentially, at least anyway. Especially for the loser. I think the winner will certainly go on. I don't see Tyson Fury defeating Dillian Whyte and then sailing off into the sunset. Genuinely, I don't. But, hey, you never know. This is Tyson, right? What he says for breakfast is not what he's going to say at lunchtime. What can you do? Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you on the next video.